Ever felt like you need a law degree just to understand a legal document? Well, you're not alone. Legal judgments can honestly feel like a secret language, written in a code that nobody ever gave you the key for. But don't worry, in this explainer, we're going to crack that code together.
So if you've ever opened up a 100-page judgment and just felt completely lost in a sea of jargon and legalese, that feeling is universal. It's practically a rite of passage. But here's the thing. It's not your fault. It's got nothing to do with how well you read. The real reason is that the document was never written for you.
And that right there, that's the game-changing insight. Judgments are not textbooks. They are not designed to teach you anything. Their one and only job is to solve a very specific, very real problem for the people in that case. Think of them as tools, not tutorials. And once you really get that, it changes everything about how you approach them.
But here's the good news. Buried inside every dense, complex judgment, there's a hidden roadmap, a structure. And once you learn to see it, navigating these things goes from being a total chore to a challenge you can actually tackle.
It's this predictable journey, right? It always starts with the facts, what actually happened, the story. Then you hit the issues. These are the big legal questions the court has to figure out. From there, we get the arguments, which is basically the showdown between each side. And then, the absolute heart of it all, the court's reasoning. This is the why. Why did they decide what they did? And it all wraps up with the order, the final verdict. So, you've got story, question, battle, reason, and verdict. See? There's a logic to it.
All right, so you've got the map. Now it's time to go hunting for the treasure. But here's a heads up. Not everything that glitters in a judgment is gold. Your mission is to learn the difference between the real legal treasure, the ratio decidendi, and everything else, the obiter dicta. Think about it like you're following a recipe. The ratio, that's the core stuff, the essential ingredients, the steps you absolutely have to follow. You can't bake the cake without them. That's the binding legal rule. But the obiter, well, that's like the chef's little notes scribbled in the margin. A story about where they first tried this dish, or a suggestion to maybe try a different kind of frosting. It's interesting for sure, and it might even be helpful, but it's not part of the core recipe. It's not binding.
And trust me, this is not just some boring academic distinction. In the real world of law, telling the difference between a binding rule and just a passing comment, that could be the thing that wins or loses you a case. Let me show you just how high the stakes can get with a pretty wild example.
Okay, just picture this landing on your desk, a single judgment from the Supreme Court of India in the famous Kesavanand Bharati case. How long is it? Oh, just over 700 pages. That's longer than The Great Gatsby and The Catcher in the Rye put together. And your job is to find the one, single, most important legal rule hidden somewhere inside all of that. We're talking about a needle in a haystack, and the haystack is the size of a library.
And there it is, the treasure. Boiled down from all those pages, you get this one core idea: that Parliament cannot amend the Constitution in a way that alters its basic structure. That's it. That's the basic structure doctrine. This revolutionary idea that some parts of the Constitution are just too fundamental to be changed, even by a democratically elected government. A single powerful principle that completely reshaped the balance of power in a nation, and it was all buried in those 700 pages.
Okay, so you've got the roadmap. You know the difference between treasure and, well, not treasure. Now, let's get you geared up with some practical, hands-on techniques to make this whole process a lot less painful and way more effective.
First up, don't just dive into the deep end. Skim it first. Read the intro. Read the conclusion. Get the lay of the land before you commit. Okay, then it's time to get your hands dirty. Highlight stuff. Write notes in the margins. Argue with the judge. Make that document yours. Now, this next one is absolutely crucial. Try to summarize the main points in your own words. Seriously, if you can't explain it simply, you probably don't get it yet. And hey, don't read in a bubble. Check out what academics or other courts have said about the case. And last, but definitely not least, pay attention to the dissenting opinions. The judge who disagreed, their argument today could very well become the law tomorrow.
All right, I know what you might be thinking. Wow, this sounds like a ton of work. And you're not wrong. It is. But the reason this matters, the reason we're even talking about it, goes way beyond just passing a class. The payoff is absolutely huge.
Because learning to do this well isn't just another academic skill. I'd argue it's a legal superpower. It's the one thing that separates lawyers who can just recite the rules from the ones who can actually shape an argument. It's the engine for real legal analysis, it's the foundation for giving good advice, and it's your secret weapon in, well, any legal fight you're in.
You know, there's this quote from our source material that I just love. It says, "To read them well is to engage with the living fabric of law." And that's so true. A judgment is where all the abstract, dusty legal theories crash into the messy, complicated reality of people's lives. It's where the law gets tested, and sometimes broken, and then rebuilt. It's not static, it's alive.
So the next time you have a judgment in front of you, don't just passively read the words on the page. Interrogate it, wrestle with it, challenge its logic. Because the answers you find, they might not just change how you see that one case, they might just change how you see the law itself. So the real question is, what are you going to uncover?